Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see you. I'm not wearing an overshirt today. Kind of doing the wash. So, yeah. Hello, everybody. So, whoop, there we go. Yeah, no, hello. I'm not wearing an overshirt today. Just t-shirt. Not my normal. Not going to see that a lot from me. Enjoy it while you can. All that fat. But welcome. I figured out what I'm gonna make today's live stream about last minute, and I'm actually gonna change the title now. It's about something I know very little about. I found a nickel. 1986, cool. Sorry, I don't know how they got on my keyboard. Feral people. Let me actually. Now, I don't know if I would consider feral people a cryptid or not, but it's something mysterious and myth-like a little bit, I guess you would call it. It's something that I really want to look into, and what other way to look into it that's better than on this live stream? So, yeah, that's the plan for today. I got my Mountain Dew, which, once again, you can't see the can, because it's the same color as the green screen, which is so cool. I think that's awesome. Right? Like, isn't that cool? But anyway, I'm easily amused if you can't tell. I almost grabbed on music. Right. I need to find royalty-free music. True royalty-free music. So, we're going to do that really quickly. What did I think about Mr. Freeze getting a happy ending? That was life-changing. That was life-changing, I gotta tell you right now. So, let us... where am I going? Oh, yeah. Your channel, manage videos. This is the behind the scenes, everybody. I show this quite a lot, so don't worry if you're not seeing it right now. You will next time. Okay, jazz and blues. On the rocks. Alright. Let me quiet this down. Is that good? I think that might be good. We'll see. But, we are here to look at feral people. We're going to give it just a couple minutes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a very good one. Alright. So, we're going to give it a moment. Let people join if they want to or not. But, oh, why are we Bridgewater Triangle? That is not... No, this is not the Bridgewater Triangle. That was the other week. Feral people. Why is that also cap block? Feral people. I'll just do feral. Hashtag people. Alright. Save. So, what is the Cryptid Podcast? The Cryptid Podcast is a podcast I do every week where, for the first 5 minutes, so we just kind of chill out, you know, talk back and forth, let kind of everything do whatever it needs to do. You know what I mean? What is that? Oh, share feedback. But yeah, no, this is just a podcast where I try to present different types of evidence to everybody differently, and you know, present different types of evidence differently. That is wrong. I present evidence to everybody the same by reading. So I do a lot of reading on this podcast. I do a lot of kind of not skepticism, but attempting to understand things that I probably never heard of before, because I usually don't do any research ahead of time. I stick very much to, if I want to learn about something, I'm going to do it on stream with you. That's how I operate this, because where would I mean, I get that I could do educational videos about, you know, research for a week and then do a live stream at the end talking about it, but it's a lot more entertaining. I feel it's a lot more engaging, a lot more personable if we learn together, we talk together, we figure out what we think about something together. This is usually Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST on this channel, Death Spread. But it's been tough lately. Sorry. I am sorry. That's not on purpose. It was just kind of the way it went. So yeah, that's where we're at. And you know, a lot of these different cryptids and stuff, myths, are very culture based. So I usually try to be respectable of that. Hey, Lily, hello. I'll drink to Lily joining. I wish it was a harder drink. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, so I have basically a coat hanger of hats. It's on a hat hanger. It's a coat hanger with a spot for umbrellas, something else, jackets, just generic hooks. And I recently put all my hats up there, and I bought a hat that matches this color. It's like a seafoam red, seafoam pink kind of. But no, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I don't think it looks too bad. Alright, so it has been 6 minutes. We're doing feral people today. We're looking at the different theories around them. How valid these feral people are. Mountain Dew. You can see that the Mountain Dew feral child. Now, this is a feral child. What do you call it? Feral child Wikipedia, but not feral people. Yeah, this might be the best we can get to. Wolf children. Okay. Wild child. Alright. They made a scary movie for feral children, but I forget what it's called. Ooh, really? That's cool. I should probably look into that. I won't lie. I haven't watched a horror movie in many, many, many months. It's probably getting close to a year now, and the last time I did was, yeah, that was interesting. But, Mama, hey, yo, it was meh, yeah, I don't know, I should really watch the horror movie, but, alright, feral people. This is the Wikipedia article, feral child, and then we're going to go back and look at proper feral people, not just child, articles on the internet. Let's get into it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's dive in. Alright. A feral child, also called wild child, is a young individual who has lived isolated from human contact from a very young age, with little or no experience of human care, social behavior, or language. The term is often used to refer to children who have suffered severe abuse or trauma before being abandoned or running away. They are sometimes subject to folklore and legends, typically portrayed as having been raised by animals. While there are many cases of children being found in proximity to wild animals, there are no eyewitness accounts of animals feeding children. Description. Feral children lack the basic social skills that are normally learned in the process of enculturation. For example, they may be unable to learn to use a toilet, have trouble to walk upright after walking on all fours all their lives, or display a complete lack of interest in the human activity around them. They often seem mentally impaired and have almost insurmountable trouble learning a human language. The impaired ability to learn a natural language. Interesting. After having been isolated for so many years, is often attributed to the existence of a critical period of language learning and taken as evidence in favor of the critical period hypothesis. There is little scientific knowledge about feral children. One of the best documented cases has supposedly been that of sisters Amala and Kamala. Kamala. That sounds like a children's rhyme for some reason. Described by Reverend J.A.L. Singh in 1926 as having been quote-unquote raised by wolves in a forest in India. French surgeon Serge Eroles, however, has persuasively argued that the case was a fraud perpetuated by Singh in order to raise money for his orphanage. Didn't we... That feels familiar. I feel like we ran into that in one of the previous installments of the Cryptid podcast. That's interesting. I don't know. Yet other scientific studies of feral children exist, such as the case of Genie. History. Prior to the 1600s, feral and wild children stories were usually limited to myths and legends. In those tales, the depiction of feral children included hunting for food, running on all fours instead of two, and not knowing language. Philosophers and scientists were interested in the concept of such children and began to question if these children were part of a different species from the human family. The question was taken seriously as science tried to name and categorize the development of humans and the understanding of the natural world. Oh, crap, we're back to focus. Sorry. In the 18th, 19th century. Around 20th century, psychologists were attempting to differentiate between biological behavior and culture. Feral children who lived in isolation or with animals provided examples of this dilemma. Journalistic accounts of children raised by animals. Raised by primates / monkeys. Sorry, everyone. One moment. Sorry. Alright. Anyway. Let's see. In those tales, the depiction of feral children included... I don't know, we already read that. Journalistic accounts of children raised by animals. Raised by primates / monkeys. Marina Chapman claimed to have lived with Weeper Capuchin monkeys in the Colombian jungle from the age of 5 to about 9 following a botched kidnapping in about 1954. Unusual for feral children, she went on to marry, have children, and live a largely normal life with no persisting problems. Robert Mayana, 1982, lost his parents in the Ugandan Civil War at the age of 3. When Milton Obote's soldiers raided their village around 50 miles, 80 kilometers from Kampala, Robert then survived in the wild, presumably with vervet monkeys, for 3 years until he was found by soldiers of the National Resistance Army. Saturday Mifune, or Mifune, I'll say Mifune, it's a lot easier. Saturday Mifune, 1987, a boy of around 5 was found after spending about a year in the company of monkeys in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. He was given the name Saturday after the day he was found, and Mifune was the name of the headmistress of the special school which took him in. At the age of around 17, he could still not talk and still walked and jumped like a monkey. He never ate cooked food and refused to share or play with other children. In 2005, he was killed in a fire. Okay. I feel like that's not related, but it's important to know. John Sebunya from Uganda was a toddler when his father was killed when his father killed his mother and hanged himself. Instead of going into the care facility, he went to live with vervet monkeys. For 2 years, he learned how to forage and travel. The monkeys protected him in the wild. When he was around 7 years old, he was brought back into civilization. According to a local villager, the only forms of communication he was capable of were crying and demanding food, and he was a quote-unquote wild boy whom everyone feared. Raised by wolves. Alright, this is... I feel like we're getting a little weird. Little weird here. We're gonna see. Hessian wolf children. 1304, 1341, 1344 lived with the Eurasian wolf in the forest of Hesse. Hesse? I don't know. Dina Senechar, discovered among wolves in a cave in Sikandra near Agar in Uttar Pradesh, India in 1872 at the age of 6. He went on to live among humans for over 20 years, including picking up smoking, but never learned to speak or remained seriously impaired for his entire life. Marcos Rodriguez Pantoja, c. 1946, Sierra Morena, Spain, lived for 12 years with wolves in the mountains of southern Spain. He was discovered at the age of 19. Rodriguez's story was depicted in 2010 Spanish-German film Entre Lobos, I guess, I don't know. For his portrayal of Rodriguez, young actor Manuel Camacho received a Best New Actor nomination in 2011 Goya Awards. Am I the only one that feels like there is this person who lived with wolves for 12 years and the performance was stunningly amazing, and instead of focusing on the story, everybody goes, "You did a great job, buddy. Good job acting like a feral child. Here's an award." Like, okay, good, great. I'm glad that we recognize talent. The story is a little bit more important in my opinion. I'm just saying, okay? Good for him. I'm just saying. Just saying. The Jungle Book. Exactly. We're talking about Mowgli here, basically. Raised by dogs. Fun fact, my mother used to call me Mowgli. That was a name she gave me when I was a kid. Raised by dogs. Oksana Malaya was an 8-year-old Ukrainian girl who lived with black Russian terriers for 6 years. She was found in a kennel with dogs at night. This isn't funny. In 1991, she was neglected by her parents, who were alcoholics. The 3-year-old, looking for comfort, crawled into the farm and snuggled in with the dogs. Her behavior imitated dogs more than humans. She walked on all fours, bared her teeth, and barked. She was removed from her parents' custody by the social services. As she lacked human contact, she did not know any words besides yes and no. Upon adulthood, Oksana had been taught to subdue her dog-like behavior. She learned to speak fluently and intelligently and works at the farm milking cows, but remains somewhat intellectually impaired. There is something sickeningly, I don't know, not ironic, but just interesting about reading about children raised by dogs. There's just something so dichotomistic about that. Anyway, Ivan Mishukov, a 6-year-old boy born in Rutov, Russia, was rescued by the police in 1998 from wild dogs, with whom he lived for 2 years. Notice how they said, rescued by the police, huh? Nah, he was with his family, and he ripped him away. Police kidnapped him from his dog family. Sorry. He ran from his mother and her abusive alcoholic boyfriend at the age of 4. He earned the dog's trust by giving them food, and in return, dogs protected him. The boy had risen to being alpha male, quote-unquote, of the pack. When the police found him, they set up a trap for him and the dogs by leaving food in a restaurant kitchen. Because he had lived among the dogs for like 2 years, he relearned language fairly rapidly. He studied in military school and served in the Russian army. Can you imagine, okay, you're, say, an American soldier, and maybe you're having a skirmish with a Russian, like, platoon, and all of a sudden you get word that there's a rumor that one of the Russian soldiers was raised by dogs? Can you imagine how that would feel? Like, I can't. That would just be such a, I'm sorry, he was what? moment. Wow, alright. I mean, look, the guy raised the alpha male as a kid in dog pack. Might as well join the military at that point. You're already top dog. Literally. A 10-year-old boy, oh, sorry, I skipped a word. A 10-year-old Chilean boy, dog boy, was rescued after living with street dogs for 2 years. At the age of 5, the boy was abandoned by his parents. After fleeing a subsequent child care facility, he roamed the streets with 15 stray dogs. 15! Wow. He spent his time with them living in a cave and searching for food, sometimes finding leftovers in garbage cans. In 2001, his situation was brought to the attention of the police. Upon a rescue attempt, the boy tried to escape by jumping into frigid ocean water. However, he was gone hospitalized. He exhibited depression and aggressive tendencies, and although he could speak, he would rarely do so. Well, yeah, no wonder he was depressed. Like, I feel like it's obvious. You know, these kids are basically living with their family. I mean, it's not their family, but it is. At the end of the day, you know, they're being raised by these dogs, and they spend an entire, like, first portion of your life, the most impactful, arguably, being raised by dogs, and you rip them away. Like, of course you're going to be depressed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're with dogs, humans, monkeys. When that's all you know. I have something in my eye. Ow, ow, ow. When that's all you know, that's all you know. Like it or not. So, I don't know. That feels kind of obvious. Anyway. Oh, boy. Trey Ian. Kayla de Arrear. Trainian. I'm going to say Trainian. Romania, founded in 2002, was also known as the quote-unquote the Romanian dog boy, or Mowgli. From the ages of 4 to 7, Trainian lived without his family. The boy was found at the age of 7 and was described as a 3-year-old due to undernutrition. His mother had left her home because of domestic violence, and Trainian ran from home after sometime after his mother left. He lived in the wild and took shelter in a cardboard box. He suffered from infected wounds, having poor circulation, and children's disease caused by vitamin D deficiency. Trainian was found by Manolescu Lone, who had been walking across the country after his car broke down. In the surrounding area, a dog that had been eaten was also found. Many assumed that the boy was eating the dog to stay alive. When Trainian was being cared for, he would usually sleep under the bed and wanted to eat all the time. In 2007, Trainian was being taken care of by his grandfather, who was doing well in 3rd grade at school. It's also shocking that a lot of these stories end with doing well in school, working on a farm, functioning daily life. Like, on one hand, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? That they're just because they were raised by dogs doesn't mean they don't have the capacity to understand and learn basic human endeavors. But it's still just amazing. I don't know. It's amazing to me anyway. Andrei Tolsky, 2004, Andrei, was raised by dogs in a remote part of Siberia from the age of 3 months to 7 years. Wow. He was neglected by his parents because he had speaking and hearing problems. Social workers found the boy were curious about why the boy was not admitted to his local school. This boy was not able to talk as he lacked human interaction, had many dog-like characteristics, including walking on all fours, biting people, and sniffing his food before eating. I wonder if these dog children had a better sense of smell than us. I wonder. Because you're kind of being trained by your dog family to smell food. So you're going to acquire a good idea of sense, right? Just a thought experiment. Medina, a 3-year-old girl found in Russia in 2013. Medina lived with dogs from birth until she was 3 years old. Wow. She slept with them in the cold and ate food with them and played with them. Her father left after she was born, which caused her mother to become an alcoholic and neglect Medina. When found by social workers in 2013, she was completely nude and engaged in dog-like behavior, including chewing on bones. Afterwards, doctors confirmed that she was still mentally, physically capable despite being neglected for near her entire life. Do you need to include that she was nearly nude? Wikipedia writer. From birth until she was 3. I don't think she would have found clothes if she spent the first 3 years of her life with dogs. You don't need to add she was completely nude. That's a given. Whatever. I'm focusing on the wrong thing. You know what? I'm turning into the people who gave an award to somebody for playing a very important story and just being a good actor. I'm turning into that. No, never mind. Alright. Raised by bear. Of course there's a bear. Why bears? The 3 Lithuanian bear boys, 1657, 1669, 1694. Sergei Erols shows from the archives of the Queen of Poland, 1664 to 1688, that these are false. Okay, there's only one boy who... There's only one boy who lived in the forest, Lithuania, with the Eurasian brown bear. He was found in the spring of 1663 and then brought to Poland's capital. That's all. Just one boy raised by bears. Don't worry about it. This music is louder than the others. There we go. Raised by sheep. And of course, as an Irish American, of course the Irish boy is the one raised by sheep. And I could say that. Anyway, an Irish boy brought up by sheep, reported by Nicolas Tulp in his book Observations Medica... I don't know, that book. 1672. Sergei Erols gives evidence that this boy was severely disabled and it was exhibited for money. Makes sense. A 14-year-old boy, also known as a sheep boy, in 2009 was found in Kyrgyzstan, living in a sheep flock. He was raised by sheep for 8 years. He had no communication skills and could not use a toilet. His parents left to find work, and he was left with his grandmother. His grandmother took care of him until she died. That's sweet. Goldilocks. Literally Goldilocks. That Russian... What was it? Russian, Lithuanian? Lithuanian. That Lithuanian boy was Goldilocks. Like... I don't know. The Bamberg boy who grew up among cattle. That's it. 1500s. Some boy raised by cows, I guess. Okay. Wow, this is a completely different, I'm gonna call it iceberg than I expected. Alright. I'm not laughing because these are funny, okay? These are very sad. A lot of these are the eventual causation of abuse. And it is very sad that that's the case. But just saying the words, the Bamberg boy who grew up among cattle, I don't know, man. You don't think you're gonna say words until you say them. Raised by goats. Daniel, Ande's goat boy, 1990, lived in the wild for about 8 years. He was discovered in the mountains of Peru and was raised by goats or llamas. He walked around on all fours with the mountain goats. He drank goat's milk and ate berries and roots. He was a goat boy. Okay. Other cases. Because, you know, these wouldn't have been able to be categorized other goats, cattle, sheep, bears, dogs, wolves, or monkeys. These are other cases. It's also amazing how many types of animals would take a human child into their care. Like, I mean, that's just that is amazing to me. Animals are something else, man. They are something else. Jean de Liege, described by natural philosopher Sir Kenelm Digby in his book Two Treatises, Two Treatises, I guess. The Girl of Orenburg, the Two Pyrenean Boys, Peter the Wild Boy of Hemelin, mentally disabled boy affected with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. He lived only one year in the wild. That's just 1 year. Not that impressive. We've seen better. Victor of Averin, 1800. Victor was a feral child in the forest of Averin for 12 years. The subject is treated with a certain amount of realism in Francois Truffaut 1970 film L'Enfant Sauvage, UK the Wild Boy, US the Wild Child, where a scientist's efforts in trying to rehabilitate a feral boy meet with great difficulty. Marie, that name, just that name, was a famous feral child of the 18th century in France who was known as a wild girl of Champagne, the maid of Chalons, or the wild child of Saugny. Marie, that name, survived for 10 years living wild in the forests of France, between the ages of 9 and 19, before she was captured by villagers of Saugny in Champagne in September 1731. She was likely born in 1712 as a Native American of the Meskwaki, or Fox people, and brought to France in 1720. She was born in an unknown location in 1712. Marie died in Paris in 1775. Documents show she learned how to read and write as an adult, thus making her unique among feral children. Hani Istok, aka Steve of the Marsh, of Kapurvar, Hungary, 1749. According to documents stored at the Catholic parish of Kapurvar, an abandoned child was once found in a marshy lakeside forest by two fishermen. He was brought to the town of Kapurvar, where he was christened and received the name Stephen. The local governor took him to his castle, not cattle. We already went over the person raised by cattle. Castle tried to raise him, but the boy eventually escaped and ran back to the forest. Later, numerous folk tales developed around his character, depicting him as a half fish, half human creature. Okay. Who lived in a nearby lake. Kaspar Husser, early 19th century, portrayed in the 1974 Werner Herzog film The Enigma of Kaspar Husser, that foreign sentence, who existed but whose account of his own early isolation may well have been a hoax. Ramachandra, 1970s and 80s, first reported in 1973 of the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, at roughly 12 years old, and as living an amphibian lifestyle in the Kuwano River. He was rescued in 79 and taken to a nearby village. He only partly adapted to a conventional lifestyle, still preferring raw food, walking with an awkward gait, spending most of his time alone in nearby rivers and streams. He died in 1982 and after approaching a woman who was frightened by him and who badly scalded Ramachandra with boiling water. Ow. Historian Mike Dash speculates that Ramachandra's uncharacteristically bold approach to the woman was sparked by burgeoning sexual attraction coupled with his ignorance of cultural mores and taboos. Okay. Cambodian jungle girl, 07, alleged to be Rochom Penanegi, who lived 19 years in the Cambodian jungle. Other sources question these claims. In August 2016, after immigration officials spent 2 weeks reviewing the case, the woman left Cambodia with her family, who returned to living with her adopted family in Cambodia, and according to her Vietnamese birth family, she has been that way since birth. Name unknown. Uzbekistan. 07, a teenage boy found acting like a wild animal snarling in the mountains of Samarkand after being reported missing in 1998. That I will not try. Thiva near Seha, India, 2012. She went missing in the jungle, aged 4, returning 38 years later. When she was first seen, she was naked. Again, 38 years. You don't gotta mention that. Long-haired and with long fingernails, which caused her to be seen as a wild woman. And finally, Ho Van Long, 2013, was found in Quang Nguyen, Vietnam. His father, Ho Van Than, took him into the jungle, leaving behind a brother, Ho Van Tree, to flee from the Vietnam War, where he was raised for 4 decades in isolation. Upon discovery, he barely spoke a few words to the local dialect from the Khor minority. According to his brother, he was developmentally stunted like a child and could not distinguish good from bad. He died of liver cancer and... well, that's depressing. Whew! Alright. Oh, we're not done. Now, this was all journalistic accounts of children raised by animals. Now we're on to alleged cases of feral children. Alright. How much further do we want to go here? So, normally, I do read the full Wikipedia article. However, not only is this not feral people's feral children, we're now delving into, like, I mean, now we're just getting depressing. It's important to recognize that these really happen. I mean, these cases of children being locked into a room and never being allowed to have freedom. And not just, like, you know, basic freedoms given by God. I'm talking, like, the ability to leave a room for many years. That does happen. And it's important to note that. But this is getting away from the point of the video. Maybe one day I can look into these. Raising confinement, alleged cases. But this is definitely going off the rails a little bit. And I'm trying to keep it compact. I'm trying to keep it together. Right? The structure of this video. So, again, I'm not avoiding these because I don't want to talk about them. I'm avoiding them because they're getting off topic at the point in the video. That these are topics for another day. We might come back to them. This isn't a crime series. This is a cryptid and mysterious series. So, while I want to recognize events that are this despicable and awful and terrible do happen, and it is important to know, and possibly even more important to look into, so we know what kind of the mindset is of these sick and twisted people. I'm not going to be going into it again simply because that's not what this is about. Alright, we gravy? We good? Okay. Now that said, I will read this quick section, alleged case of feral children. And then we'll go back. And we'll start reading other stuff. But for now, ancient reports. The historian Herodotus wrote that Egyptian pharaoh that word, Pasamtic, that doesn't help, sought to discover the origin of language and prove Egypt was the oldest people on Earth by conducting an experiment with 2 children. Allegedly, he gave 2 newborn babies to a shepherd with the instructions that no one should speak to them, but that the shepherd should feed and care for them while listening to determine their first words. The hypothesis was that the first word would be uttered in the root language of all people. When both of the children cried "Beckos" with outstretched arms, the shepherd concluded that this word was Phrygian, because that was the sound of the Phrygian word for bread. Thus, they concluded that the Phrygians were an older people. I mean, that is sound logic. This is a very poppy song. That's sound logic for the time, but also just kind of sounds like they made a sound, so. Modern reports. The Lobo Wolf Girl of Devil's River, 1845, a figure in Texas folklore, was captured in 1846 but escaped. She was last spotted at the age of 17 in 1852. Vincent Coco, 1948, Chilean boy found in a savage state at age 12, allegedly raised by pumas. And the ostrich boy. A boy named Hadara was lost by his parents in the Sahara Desert at the age of 2. And was adopted by ostriches. Can we please, for a second, recognize that ostriches saw a 2-year-old and thought, you fit the bill. You're coming with us. Ostriches. I love animals. I just do. At the age of 12, he was rescued and taken back to society by his parents. He later married and had children. The story of Hadara is often told in West Sahara. In 2000, Hadara's son, Ahmedou, told his father's story to Swedish author of children's books, Monica Zack. Zack states that she did not believe the story, but published it as an example of tales told in the desert. Zack states his book, I have built on all of the strange and exciting details I got from Hadara's son. The rest I have fantasized together. Woo! I feel like I'm singing with the song. All right. And again, we are simply moving on from there. Yeah. All right. So, there's a Wikipedia article on feral children. Now time to look at feral people. So, where do we want to start? Huh. Well, why don't we start with the, oh, is this Dennis Martin? Now, one thing I have considered is going into Missing 411. However, my hesitation is there is a fine line between mysterious and supernatural. I try to keep this on that like gray area of supernatural mysterious instead of realistic mysterious. Dennis Martin is a Missing 411 case. Missing 411, for those of you who don't know, is essentially the National Park Service equivalent to missing people. Or a 411 case, I should say. If you want to learn more, there is a wonderful channel, The Lore Lodge, absolutely wonderful, who does a lot of videos on Missing 411. I highly recommend them. They're part of the inspiration for the series as a whole. But Dennis Martin is an almost original missing national parks child case, and the story is so bizarre. It is so weird. You can't just like summarize it, you know. So I recommend looking it up on YouTube. watching Wendigoon and the Lore Lodge if you're interested, talking about Dennis Martin. Some crazy, crazy things in that story. But I'm going to avoid this because I don't want to get into the 411. Again, this episode is very, like, to keep it focused on feral people and learn with you. It's a bigger task than normal. Normally it's easy, like, oh, the Mothman. There is a man that's a moth. Like, okay, whatever. But when we're getting into, like, borderline criminal activity, now it's like, okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? So, anywho, the Tree People, feral clan in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. Shenandoah River. Alright. Now this is phantomsandmonsters.com. And this was written Thursday, August 5th, 2021. And it was written by... Am I able to see who it was written by? I'm just trying to give, that's why by copyright owner, we're making such... Sorry, 1 second. We believe this constitutes fair use of any copyright, of course. Yeah. Alright. Acknowledging may be exposed to content from other users as... Yeah, okay. So, this is a website I have kind of avoided in the past, simply because there have been, I feel, more trustworthy sites. But we're going to read this, alright? I haven't actually read a full article on Phantom Monsters yet, so we're going to try it out. And let's see what this is. So this is the Tree People, feral clan in Virginia's Shenandoah River Valley. So, a man and his friends are grilling deer outside while visiting a cabin in the Shenandoah Valley. Because of this, their activity drew the attention of the Tree People. I recently came across one in the following account. My friend in this story and I are still friends with to this day. He grew up in the mountains living off the land in Grayson County, Virginia. He and his family are recognized as members of the Pamunkey Native American Nation. Once I had a not deer, quote-unquote, encounter in the woods in his backyard. He explained to me it was a manifestation of his forest spirit similar to what slaves call a leashie. It's amazing that things this man knows about. Really, he is just a wealth of knowledge and great human being. So we were working construction on the outskirts of Harrisonburg, Virginia, Shenandoah Valley. When the weekend came and we decided to go stop at his cousin Lee's land way out of the mountains, several winding dirt roads off Highway 33. Now let me tell you, cousin Lee's got an old school mountain cabin still heated by a wood burning stove. Also, cousin Lee's very simple as a result of a childhood head trauma. He is by no means dumb, just like sling blade simple. I never heard that term. Should I put on my reading voice for this? Let's turn this up a little bit. 6 minutes. All right, this is story time, everybody. So we're over here having a good time, grilling some deer. He shot on the side of the mountain, and I noticed padlocks on what appeared to be refuse bins. Of course, I inquired, and the response I got was, "Them MFers will dig in my trash and throw it out everywhere if I don't lock it." Cousin Lee burned what he could and took the remains at the dump, very common practice in the area. So, I am assuming he is talking about raccoons, and the man is simple, so he is being overdramatic. We go in and eat. No one put the lock on the refuse bin, which had the remainder of the deer carcass in it. Dinner goes by without a hitch, and after cleaning up, we decided to sit down and smoke some mountain grass. We're smoking out, no alcohol, having a good old time playing old records of bands like Led Zeppelin, etc., when all of a sudden we heard a loud thud on the roof, followed by 2 quick steps and then silence. I have no idea what just happened. I just know I am scared. Cousin Lee exclaims, "It's them. They better not be in my trash," and goes into his room and comes out with a shotgun. My friend, we call him Jay, grabs these 2 handcrafted walking sticks out of the corner. I am so oblivious, but got my friend Jay and his cousin Lee are headed to the back door like this is some sort of routine. I then witnessed Jay bust out the front door with the 2 big sticks, waving them in the air while making just some strange growl-like sounds. After Jay gets about 10 feet out of the door, comes Lee with a shotgun, but is waving it above his head like some crazy growling noise. At this point, I am just too curious about the situation and head for the door. When I got to the door, the pungent odor of bear poo. I poke my head out of the door and see this hairy man dressed in tattered rags and caked it with mud trying to gather the deer parts from the refuse bin. I took up. There is another one on the top shed, but he is perched almost like gargoyle, wearing only what appears to be a tattered vest. I'm drowning in awe of the situation. My mind is unable to fully process what is going on, and I let out a scream. This seemed to upset the trash digger, and he started banging a piece of deer he had in his hand on the side of the refuse bin. Cousin Lee took the shotgun down and fired off a shot, and they took off. What was really horrifying was apparently there was one on the roof behind all of our backs. I seen it coming overhead, and it landed on the shed. The other one was on, and then with a single bounce leaped into a tree. He successfully ran off with a piece of deer too. Now here comes a real crazy part of the explanation. You never want to shoot one. They got a mighty big plan, and they will come if you got one of their own. Warning shot always scares them off. I just bust out, "What the F was that?" The response I got, "The tree people." Apparently people have gone into the forest and lived and survived, ended up clanning up with other living in the woods. This has been going on for a long time, and there lived several generations in the wilderness as feral people. Apparently they steal clothing off the line tools, anything they can get their hands on, and they also enjoy messing with people. Oh, and apparently they live in the trees, thus why they are called locally as the tree people. SF. So, that was the tree people. Interesting. But that's the thing. That's the general concept of these feral people, right? It's the idea that they're so removed from human society, but they're not alone. They're together. And these feral people, they've created their own society, their own culture. So, yeah, they're not human capable of interacting, but at the same time they are. It's odd. It's weird. It's weird. It really is. Feral people living in national parks, balanced 2022. Okay. Exploretraveler.com. What are we looking at here? Alright. Ooh, what is this? Okay, so am I reading something classified? I don't feel like I don't know if this is if this is all square with the government for me to be reading out loud, so I'm gonna. I mean, look, I have my own opinions on the U.S. government, but one of those opinions certainly they do not care, and they will go after you if something feels like they have been wronged, and I don't like that, so I'm gonna back away. Rumor spreads on TikTok. Is it true? Right. Alright, national parks. This might be good. Let's turn that back down. Alright. Are there feral people in national parks? Now this is AmericanNewsReport.com. Very legit sounding name. Many myths and legends about feral or wild people have abandoned modern society and reverted to a primitive state. Some say that they exist in remote corners of the world, living outside civilization. Others claim they can be found in the most unexpected places like national parks, living off the land and avoiding contact with humans. This may be based on the increase in disappearances of hikers and campers in the woods and forests during excursions, and people are genuinely terrified. We'll look at what it means to be feral and if feral people are living in national parks. What is a feral person? The term feral, quote-unquote, is often used to describe an animal reverted to a wild state. The word can also describe humans who have lived outside of society. There is no one-size-fits-all definition for feral people, as their circumstances and backgrounds can vary greatly. Generally speaking, though, feral people have been disconnected from society and live in a state of isolation. There are several cases of feral children being discovered around the world. One of the most famous is Victor, found in France in 1798 and lived in the wild for 8 years. He is famously known as the Boy of Avrion. We read about him. Feral people are often victims of abuse, we saw that, neglect, or social isolation, and are often associated with violence, criminality, and substance abuse. They may have spent time living on the streets of shelters, and some are even born into these conditions. Feral people may distrust others and have difficulty communicating and interacting with others. As a result, they become aggressive. They may have trouble with basic... They may have trouble with basic tasks, such as dressing themselves or using the bathroom. They're also commonly thought to be uneducated and illiterate. Feral people often face many challenges both physically and emotionally. They may struggle with basic needs such as food, clothing, and shelter, and adopt animalistic behaviors to survive. What are the dangers of feral people? There are many dangers associated with feral people. One of the most severe dangers is that they can spread diseases. They may be carrying diseases that are picked up from animals around them or from other people that have come into contact with. Feral people may also be infected with rabies. They don't understand social norms and could be dangerous. Another danger is that feral people often have trouble understanding social norms and may not know how to behave in a civilized society. This can lead to them getting into fights or causing other problems. They may also be more likely to commit crimes since they are not used to following the law. Feral people may also have difficulty holding down jobs or performing other basic tasks necessary for society. What should you do? What should you do if you encounter a feral person? If you come across a feral person, the first thing you should do is assess the situation. If the person is acting aggressively or seems dangerous, it's best to stay away and call police. Do not try to approach them, as they may be aggressive or destructive. If the person is homeless or seems lost, try to talk to them in a calm and reassuring voice. Tell them your name and offer them help. If they accept your help, escort them to a safe place, such as a shelter or the police station. Feral people may be homeless, addicted to drugs or alcohol, or mental illnesses. They often live on the streets and can be difficult to contact or help. National parks in the U.S. 63 national parks in the U.S. span over 84 million acres and are managed by the Park Service, National Park Service, NPS. Yellowstone was the first national park that was established in 1872. They are all beautiful and offer a wide variety of activities and attractions, from the majestic landscapes of Yosemite and Glacier National Parks to the historic sites of Colonial Williamsburg and Pearl Harbor. There is something for everyone to enjoy. Apart from the national parks, the agency oversees 423 park units such as lake shores, monuments, seashores, battlefields, military and historical places, recreation areas, scenic rivers, and trails. These areas range from the 3,500-acre Gateway National Recreation Area in New York City to the Arctic National Wild Refuge, over 20 million acres. Wow. The NPS agency celebrated its 100th anniversary on August 25th, 2016. President Woodrow Wilson established it in the same date in 1916. National Parks preserve some of the most beautiful and historically significant landscapes in the world. National parks are perfect for outdoor enthusiasts, history buffs, and families looking for a fun, affordable vacation. There are activities for everyone in national parks. Hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and sightseeing are popular activities. Visiting museums, going on ranger-led tours, and watching films are all great ways to learn about the park you're visiting. Alright, now we're just going down, like, what is a national park? I like how this started out about feral people and then slowly became a, what's a nice way to say the word propaganda? An advertisement for national parks. So yes, support your local national park, I guess. I don't know, can a national park be considered local? I don't know. Where are we? Let's do one more. Let's see. Do I really want to read from Driving and Vibin'? Yo, these feral people are certainly vibing. Or you know what? Instead of reading another article, why don't we look at a video? let's do that. Lore Lodge, check them out. Really good. Let's see. I mean, can we just, like, do that? No, huh? There really isn't any footage. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, well. No videos then. Sorry. I tried. I really did. But, that's alright. Mysterious Universe. I like Mysterious Universe. Let's go here. We'll finish off with this. Oh. Oh, I used to really like Mysterious Universe. That's poopy. But yeah, so basically, feral people, they're people who have lived away from society long enough to lose most, if not all, human societal norms and societal, I guess, functionalities that deal with the mind, and then become something not human, but have it in them to be human. We saw that plenty of times in the feral child Wikipedia article, where once a child reached an adult, pretty much it always found a way to bounce back to normalcy for being human. Yeah. But that's pretty much what it is. I might be doing another one of these another day about feral people. There's definitely a lot more research articles that we could read about. And I would even argue there has to be footage. There has to be. I don't know. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Again, I don't know anything going into these. I just know Lore Lodge has done videos on them, so I figured I would do some research with all of you. Hope you enjoyed. Check out Lore Lodge if you can. And thank you for spending this hour with me, for watching as a VOD. Thank you for spending time with me in general. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST on this channel, I expect to be streaming. I couldn't last week because of an issue with OBS, so whatever. But hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Somebody somewhere loves you, even if they don't know yet. Thank you for spending time with me. And goodbye.